Welcome to Community Health Heroes Show, where we spotlight local organizations that provide much needed health and wellness information and resources, so everyone in our community can strive to live healthier, happier, and longer lives. I'm Dr. Penny Walker, Senior Medical Director for United Healthcare of the Southeast region. Thank you for joining us. Our guests today on Community Health Heroes include Dr. Ralph Corsetti, Director of Ochsner's Tansy Breast Center, who will talk about awareness and treatment of breast cancer. Award-winning medical journalist and frequent contributor to the Dr. Oz Show, Dr. Corey Abear, who will introduce us to a new online health website called Black Health TV, which addresses health issues specific to African Americans, and Wes McWhorter, who joins us today following a 2-week bike ride to raise money for the Pavlov Foundation, a nonprofit organization that helps raise funds to help fight childhood cancers. So don't go away, we'll be right back.
Separate raw meats from other foods by using different cutting boards. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
1 in 8 women in the U.S. will develop breast cancer in her lifetime. Here to tell us more is Dr. Ralph Corsetti, Director of Ochsner's Tansy Breast Center. Thank you for joining us today, Dr. Corsetti. Can you tell me a little bit about prevention and treatment of breast cancer?
Our early detection has come a long way, and stressing the importance of getting your mammography performed every year allows women to get their cancers detected earlier. Because of its awareness and because it has a dedicated month, the NFL devotes a whole month to breast cancer awareness. We're very thankful for that. Myself as a breast cancer surgeon, we get the most dollars in NIH and government funding for research, so we come up with newer treatments. And some of the newer treatments that are coming on the last couple of years, we've been able to perform less surgery with same results, so women aren't having to undergo such extensive surgery. For instance, in the past, if you'd had a breast cancer and it had spread to your lymph nodes under your arm, it would mean that we would need to remove the rest of the lymph nodes under the arm as part of the treatment. Now, if you have a lumpectomy and you have a positive lymph node, you don't necessarily have to have all the rest of the lymph nodes removed, because the chemotherapy and other treatments such as the radiation have come a long way, that we don't have to take the rest of the lymph nodes out. This allows the women to potentially have less complications like swelling in the arm or the lymphedema. So that's come a long way.
How does Louisiana, and especially New Orleans, how do we compare statistically to the rest of the nation in breast cancer diagnosis, treatment, et cetera?
That's an interesting question. If you look at statistics with breast cancer incidence nationwide, there's probably about 230,000, 240,000 new cases of breast cancer annually. And like I said, probably 25-30% of those are non-invasive cancer, which is the earliest form. And nationwide, about 40,000 people a year die from breast cancer. So the cure rates are, if you do the math, the cure rates are over 80%.
That's phenomenal. I mean, we really have come a long way.
We have come a long way.
Cure rate.
Early detection is the key to that, and advances in treatment. If you look at Louisiana statistics, there's about 3,300 new cases a year, and probably about 650 deaths per year. So if you look at the number there, the death rate incident is just slightly higher than national numbers. And there's reasons we can explain that, is that patients in Louisiana tend to present at slightly higher stage, and that's because there's probably less early detection. So it really emphasizes the importance of getting that mammogram. So if you're not getting that mammogram done, and you're not coming into the doctor or the clinic until you feel a lump in your breast, there's a likelihood that you're going to be diagnosed at a slightly higher stage, and the higher the stage is when you're diagnosed, the less likely you might be able to be cured of your cancer. So it really goes hand in hand, and there's certainly statistics in some of the poorer parishes in Louisiana have the higher incidence of death rates and the lower number of earlier detection, lower number of DCISs that are detected. So that really goes hand in hand. So early detection is the key.
And Dr. Corsatti, even surgeries advance. We talked about chemo, we've talked about removing lymph nodes, but even the reconstruction surgery has advanced significantly. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Nationwide, most women get implant type of reconstruction, breast implants. In this community, there's a higher tendency of getting natural, what we call autologous tissue, where it comes from yourself, where they can take tissue from your abdomen, some of the fatty tissue in the skin, and now without even taking the muscle, just taking the blood vessels that go to that tissue, they can transfer it up to the chest and reconstruct the breast. It's called a DIEP flap. It was developed in this community in the 1990s and has really taken off, and there's many plastic surgeons in the community that perform this procedure that we work with.
And how are those results? I mean, are they more natural?
Yeah, the results are excellent. A patient has a more natural look and natural feel to her reconstructed breasts rather than having an implant. Some women, even after mastectomy, may need radiation, so in those instances we may counsel them and discuss about doing delayed reconstruction. We've come a long way. We can get more complicated, but we do techniques called immediate delayed reconstruction, where we do temporary things to try to give the best cosmetic result while radiation is being given, like perhaps put in an implant temporarily while the chest wall after mastectomy is being radiated, and then do the natural tissue reconstruction after the radiation and remove the implant.
So we've come a long way in diagnosis, treatment options. Where would I go if I was one of my consumers out there? Where would I go for more information on breast cancer?
Well, there's several websites. Certainly at Ochsner, we have our Ochsner website at ochsner.org, and there's a direct link to the Tansy Breast Center, which goes into some of the recommended screening guidelines. It gives more information about treatment options, staging, and why I practice breast cancer surgery is that every case is a little different. So patients will often come and say that they had family members or friends that were treated this way or that way, and really every case is unique. So you really need an appropriate consultation, so our website goes through that. Certainly you can go to national websites like the American Cancer Society website has a link, the American College of Surgeons, and certainly the American College of Radiology will go through some of the screening guidelines too. Yeah.
So we've talked about the very extreme importance of getting your mammogram at least yearly, if that's recommended.
Yearly. Mm-hmm.
And we talked about surgeries, we've talked about treatment options. So this is just incredibly valuable information for our public out there. Really appreciate you coming to the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Dr. Corsetti. We will be right back with more Community Health Heroes.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Here we go. We're gonna make some juice.
It's gonna be good.
She's excited. A little bit of kale.
Please don't put this on line.
I'm putting it all over the line.
It's wet. It needs something. No, it'll go.
Don't break my juicer. Looks good.
You ready to try it?
Come on, baby.
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
It's okay.
Okay, all right.
They might surprise you.
She took another sip. You saw it?
Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.
It was not. It was like...
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many. But what if you've had just one too many? Buzz driving is drunk driving.
2 outs with a runner on first base. Now the big guy comes up to bat, hitting .342 with 92 RBIs and 36 homers. First pitch is fouled between the guys.
Chill raw and prepared foods promptly. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
According to the U.S. Office of Minority Health, African Americans have the highest mortality rate of any racial and ethnic group in several major disease categories, from stroke, infant mortality, heart disease, diabetes, cancer, HIV, and AIDS. Joining us to talk about a groundbreaking online video and social media websites focused on the health issues of African American consumers and physicians is Dr. Corey Hebert. Thank you for joining us today, Dr. Hebert.
Thank you for having me.
There is a wonderful story behind this website. Can you go into how did you create blackhealthtv.com?
Yes, I was at a really nice restaurant in New York City, and this very nice, well-educated PhD from MIT burned himself when he was at the table with me. And we had several people around, and he said, like, I need to get some butter to put on this burn. I got to get some butter so I can, make sure that it doesn't get infected. And I said, that's the worst thing you could ever put on a burn. And he said, no, it's not. That's the best thing you could ever put on a burn. Now, this educated African-American man said that. So I was like, let me show you what is the best way. So we did a poll of 1,000 African-Americans, cross-cultural, socioeconomic status, the whole thing. And over 80% of African Americans thought that you put butter on a burn. That made me furious because that's the only thing you shouldn't put on the burn, almost. So the issue is, what could I have done? What could I do at that point to make it so that people can know about things? We know that what the information that's out there now is failing. If this very smart man didn't know, obviously some of the people that aren't so smart wouldn't know. So we started the 2-year-long odyssey of starting blackhealthtv.com, because the issue is, if you know things, you can change things. But if you don't have the information, you just won't be able to do anything. So what we thought was, African Americans search the internet for health more than they search for anything else, more than entertainment, more than sports, more than anything. Because African Americans historically don't have insurance. African Americans historically don't go to the doctor for primary care and tend to self-treat. So if you're searching on the internet for all this stuff, there's no relevant content, meaning you can go to WebMD if you want to, but first of all, you have to read long passages that most people don't understand anyway. Even people that are doctors sometimes don't even understand this stuff. And all the pictures are of non-people of color. So you don't feel really like it's relevant. You don't feel welcome. So what I decided to do was, I'm gonna just take away all the text. We're gonna make video for every possible health issue in America and the world that affects everyone, because we're all basically the same. It's just how we get the information and how we like to receive the information. That's the difference, between lots of the races. So, say, for example, diabetes. If you go to blackhealthtv.com, you type in diabetes, you see an HD video of me telling you, so you got sugar? Let me tell you what sugar is. Sugar is diabetes, and let's talk about how to treat it. So I go straight into the science, but I start off by saying things that make a person that is African American feel very good about it. And so we have health videos on every possible thing. We have nutrition videos on how you cook the same African American popular foods, but healthy, but it's video. You don't have to read it. We have a fitness guru who does all the latest exercises and fitness, all the protocols that fitness guys do. He's African American, and it's all video. It's so impressive that it's a beautiful website. We've teamed up with Harvard University, who recognized that this was very important. Morehouse School of Medicine, who recognized this is very important. Those are our academic partners. And what we have done is that we have created a multicultural website so that for the first time, an African American man or woman who cannot read can get on-demand health care in the history of the United States. And it's something that is needed to be there for a long time. But we also have bought all the domains for LatinoHealthTV.com, which we're rolling out, AsianHealthTV.com, and actually JewishHealthTV.com and IrishHealthTV.com. And we're going to be rolling them all out because we're all basically the same.
How many visitors do you have to your site?
Oh, we have thousands and thousands. We just launched this thing about a week and a half ago. We haven't done any marketing. We've done one press release, and we have been all over the world. We launched it in Durban, South Africa, and it took the African continent by storm in about a week and a half. And so now we're just hitting the market in the United States, and we hope that we get great supporters like United Health Foundation to just make sure that we continue to have this dialogue, because people are starving for it, and the information it's proven that it actually does help when you know that you shouldn't put butter on that burger.
And what do you have for like stroke, heart care prevention, heart prevention?
We have video on everything from heart attacks to high blood pressure, strokes, and I start off the heart attack videos by saying, now, Black people have a lot of heart attacks, but you can't eat the same food at Medea's house every week that's high in salt and high in fat and expect not to have a stroke, not to have a heart attack. You're going to have these things, so let me tell you what you need to do. And first of all, let me tell you what a heart attack is. And then we have 3D animation to show you what a heart attack is, and then I go into all the things that you can do to avoid the heart attacks. And it's all scientifically based, so there's no, getting around the science. That's very important. You can change the words and make it very flowery for whatever population you want to talk to, but the science is still there. It's just that I make it so that a fifth grader could understand it, and that's the key. You got to make it so that everybody can feel like they're part of that diaspora that understands how to take care of themselves.
So if somebody doesn't know how to pronounce a diagnosis and they type in something, what will show up if they misspell?
Like for example, a lot of African Americans mispronounce the word, the ailment ringworm. They call it wingworm. And so I'm a very big advocate, and you have to be able to pronounce things so people can respect you when you get into that office. So I start off the video saying, it's not pronounced wingworm, it's ringworm, and it's okay that you thought that, but now you have to do it right. But the website is so, it's so compelling because there is basically a Facebook built into the website. So you can log into the website with your Facebook account, your Twitter account, your Google Plus account, and there are support groups for every illness. So you can actually type in, if you go to heart attack, you can type in, I had a heart attack. What are some of the other people out there? What have you experienced after having a heart attack? And there's a whole interactive social group just on myocardial infarction or heart attacks, just that so that people can have that support.
Well, this is phenomenal information. You're absolutely have a way that's going to change the healthcare of America. So thank you very much, Dr. Avery.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back with more Community Health Heroes.
establish how to.
You might just have one person up there and just keeping those all on the floor. Just for any kind of work that isn't.
Cook foods to the right temperature using a food thermometer. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Are you getting this, honey?
Oh, prime time. We are rolling.
All right, Mama's gonna bring it home. Mama's gonna bring it home. Okay.
Come on, watch this guy.
Oh, backwards!
Oh, don't. Oh.
It went into Bob and Carol's yard. Oh, no? Okay, here it comes.
Oh, Mom!
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
All right, let's see what you can do. Let's go.
They might surprise you.
Let's go.
Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.
A full life, measured in seats, starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are the #1 killer of children 1 through 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
On average, 1 to 2 children develop cancer each year for every 10,000 children in the United States. While there has been improvement in survival rates in recent years due to significant advances in treatment, resulting in a cure or long-term remission for a substantial portion of children with cancer, there remains many who die from the disease. Joining us today is Mr. Wes McWhorter, a local bicycle enthusiast who annually pledges funds to the Pavlov Foundation's Ride Across America, which donates funds to research programs that help fight childhood cancers. Welcome to the show, Wes. Thank you for joining us.
I appreciate you guys having me back again.
Tell me about how did the Pavlov Foundation get started and how did you get involved?
So the Pavlov Foundation was started by Jeff Castellaz and Joanne Thrailkill after their son Pablo passed away from Wilms tumor at the age of 6. They wanted to try and take an experience that was clearly very challenging and devastating for their family and turn it into something that would hopefully provide support and hope for families that are dealing with the disease. And so for the last few years, they worked very hard to fund some research programs across the country, as well as some educational outreach programs, some quality of life programming as well. They have a very popular photography program that they do called Shutterbugs. And in fact, today there's a golf tournament going on in Algiers that's benefiting the Pavlov Foundation too. So it's all sort of leading up to Voodoo Festival this weekend. We'll have a presence there. So I became involved with them because my wife, right after Pablo died, she found some videos of Jeff on YouTube where the first year he did this, he rode from Jacksonville, Florida to Los Angeles. It took him like 6 weeks to traverse the country. And every day they were doing dedications to kids who are currently in treatment, and then kids who had lost their battle with cancer, And so she just kind of thought I would like that, and of course I thought it was incredibly inspiring story. And then the following year we volunteered at Voodoo, and then last year I rode 700 miles from Nashville to New Orleans with the group. And this year I rode 1,000 miles from Boston, Massachusetts to Raleigh with a group of riders. There were actually 3 of us, Jeff, myself, and another cancer dad, Alex Weinert from Seattle, who did the full distance, So the one thing I did just want to say is that this year specifically our fundraising goal was $200,000. And even before we finished the ride, we had surpassed $250,000. So we were all very excited about that. Wonderful. Yeah, for sure.
So where did this love of bikes come from?
Like probably a lot of people in the world, in fact, we were talking, some people don't ride bikes, right? So I have to acknowledge that that's not everybody. But I had, an enjoyment of riding when I was a little kid, had a BMX bike and, would build ramps with my friends in the neighborhoods and things like that. But when I turned 13, I was always kind of a small kid, was not really great at football. I was terrible at basketball, decent soccer player, but somehow decided I would go for kind of a longer ride on my bike one day. And one of my teachers in, it was either 7th or 8th grade, her husband was a cyclist at the time. And so she was really good friends with my family, and she was like, well, you should go out and go for a ride with Scott Schaefer. And I said, sure, sounds great. So really when I was very young, I had somebody that sort of mentored me and encouraged me to become a rider. And I mean, I've been riding bikes pretty much ever since then, at a competitive level, and most recently, had actually started a new business around building a cycling lifestyle brand, so it's kind of coming full circle for me.
So tell me, if I want to know more information about Pavlov, how do I find out more about events that are going on, or if I want to donate, how would I find that information?
Sure, so Pavlov.org is the foundation's website. They do a great job of keeping it up to date, both in terms of news that's going on with the foundation, events that are going on really around the country. So Pavlov.org is a great place to start. They also have a Twitter account that's very simple. It's @Pavlov, P-A-B-L-O-V-E. I have a personal blog, ridewestride.com, that I'm constantly updating. And then there's a very strong local connection for this organization as well. We do an event, like I was saying today, there's a golf tournament that's going on. And then in the springtime, we have an event called Pedaling for Pavlov, which is really focused on like getting kids out and families out to sort of participate in these little small races, but really, again, it's about, just sort of raising awareness and money for the foundation. So. And how does the foundation choose bicycle riding versus any other way of raising? Yeah, Jeff is, he loves cycling, right? So I think for him, I mean, he would probably tell the story better than I can, but the original ride was intended to be a celebration of Pablo defeating cancer, because there was a moment where they really thought he was going to beat Wilms, and when he relapsed, and very quickly, things went downhill from there. It was very cathartic, I think, for him. Again, I mean, he could tell the story better than I can, but I think it was very cathartic for him to take that trip, and so it just the first year. He came back home to LA, and they had $250,000 in their PayPal account for the Pavlov Foundation. So that's really what happened. They took something really, really challenging for their family and turned it into something that is phenomenal. It's good stuff that they're doing. Really great work. And for me, it's an honor to be able to call them friends, and certainly to share the road with them. So. Well, Wes, thank you for telling us so much about Pavlov, your cycling passion, and the wonderful organization helping children with cancer. Absolutely. My pleasure. Thanks again for having me.
Thank you once again for joining us. We hope that the information we provided today will help you and your family live healthier and happier lives. I'm Dr. Penny Walker, and I'll see you next time on Community Health Heroes.